What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the After Effect Podcast. I'm your host, Briana Daniel. You can call me LBZ, LB, Big Brian, B Ryan, Ronnie. The choice is yours. Welcome to episode 64. We have a very special guest live here from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. My twin sister, my love, a former high stepper, Cleveland native, was pretty much on the same journey as me every step of the way. My twin sister, Briana Daniel, is on the podcast today. Thank you, Breezy, for joining.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
As I've told you before, we try to create diversity on this show, so I love getting female perspectives on the show, whether you're a former athlete or a former performer or a former artist or still a current artist. We love getting females' perspectives on life after your sport or life after your respective artist realm that you were in. I know you played the flute, you sing, you were a high stepper for 6 years from age, like 13 to 18 or 12 to 18 or something like that. So this will be a very candid conversation. Our listeners, our viewers will kind of be able to get an inside look on our childhood, what we obviously choose to speak about on camera. And yeah, I'm excited to have this authentic and organic conversation. Yeah. So, if you cool, we can just dive right into it. What would you say if somebody asked you, explain your childhood, growing up in Cleveland? We were born in '89, obviously. We didn't have YouTube, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have none of the things that the kids have now. We traveled to, I believe, Florida when we were 11, and then I think New York we were like 13, but those are the only two times we ever left the state of Ohio. So paint me a picture on what it was like for you, from your viewpoint, growing up in the 90s, growing up on Diane's Court, well, Dale Bridge, and then 128th and Kinsman, then Diane's Court, then Warrensville, and then obviously us dispersing. I went to go live with my dad, you stayed to live with my mom. Talk about some moments that stood out to you during our childhood. What was it like from your viewpoint? We've had a couple conversations about it, but we've never really talked about it in a thorough context.
I would say it was very interesting. From what I can remember, we didn't really travel that much, but I don't know. I said we pretty much just stayed to ourselves. You was always involved in sports, and I did a couple things extracurricular after school, but we would go outside, play with our friends. Right. That was a big part of our childhood.
Always outside, always playing. Yep.
We would go over
our cousin's house all the time.
I said we go to our cousin's house. We go to our
Dolls, Peaches, Grandma Ella's,
Shawana's house all the time.
Yep.
And those were good times. We had good times always going to those parties and spending time with our family and just bonding with everyone.
Any moments really stood out to you? I have a couple, some good and some bad that really stand out to me that I'll never forget, even at the age of 32. You know what I mean? So do you have any moments like that? I'm not sure if you remember this, but Desmond Howard used to come back to Gracemount Elementary and talk to us. At that time, he was a current NFL player that was from the same hood as us, that lived around the corner from Gracemount. We used to walk to school.
Yeah, he came to one of those
assemblies. And he always motivated me. I always felt like if he can make it to the NFL, play at Michigan, I can play in the Big Ten, I can make it as well. We from the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
So did you have anybody you looked up to, or did you more so just look up to people in real time, people that were in our lives? I mean, obviously I know you, as a performer and an artist at an early age, you played the flute, you were a lead singer in the church choir, you were a high stepper. I know you looked up to Beyonce in a big way, Destiny's Child in a big way, you used to always play them. But did you have anybody in our real life, in real times you looked up to, or just only pretty much Destiny's Child and Beyonce?
I would say for the most part, the person who I looked up to was probably my mom. That was the person that I looked up to the majority of my childhood. I just always remember I used to stare at her. I always thought she was beautiful. I always wanted to be like her, and she just reminded me of a beautiful woman, beautiful, intelligent woman. I listen to music to escape. I love to color. I've always performed. You know, in church, we would sing. We would be in plays, and that was stuff that I enjoyed. That was things that I really enjoyed.
Right. I remember we used to color all the time.
Playing the keyboard, playing the flute.
Yeah.
Those were things that I really enjoyed.
I remember I had a keyboard. I couldn't remember if you had one too. I know you had a flute.
I know we both had one, I think.
Yeah.
I had a flute. I played around with the clarinet a little bit, but I really didn't like that mouthpiece. I wasn't really feeling that mouthpiece.
Yeah, I always felt like both of us, unconsciously, I feel like both of us was into the arts. Like,
yeah.
I tell people all the time, like, I've always felt like I'm coming into my artistry now, like as an older adult after I decided to stop playing football at the age of 27. But I've always felt like you were more of an artist than me because I never was a lead singer in any songs. You know what I mean? I never sung. I mean, I sung in the choir, but I used to color like you as well. But I was more into sketching. Remember? I used to sketch a lot. I used to have my own that blue binder, my own sketchbook.
Yeah, I think I was just more of a performing artist. You were more of a creative artist with pen and paper. You used to draw all the time, and we both like to color. And I mean, maybe if I would have tried drawing back then, maybe I would have been a little bit better.
Right.
You know? We've always had to write. Mom used to always make us write.
Yeah.
So I think we will always be pretty good at expressing ourselves on paper because it's something that was instilled in us. It's something that we've been doing for a long time. And like me personally, it's a lot I don't say. I feel a lot about a lot of different things, but I don't say a lot. You know, I express myself in different ways. You know, a lot of ways that I haven't really exposed, you know. And so, you know, I feel like that'll come with time though. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I feel that, and you know me more than anybody. You know me better than anybody. I never expressed myself. I never even really took a dive back deep into a lot of our experiences, a lot of the things that we went through. I always pretty much used to think it was normal. So I never paid any attention to it, you know? It's only, but so recent in the last couple of years, you know, where I've walked through therapy, where I've had to revisit some of those experiences that, like you said, we got different opinions on, but we never really talk about, or we never really want to revisit that shit, just to be honest. Like,
honestly.
We never want to think about it. Like, you know what I mean? We just want to keep going with our lives. And so therapy has pretty much made me or forced me to go back into those things. And obviously we on wax right now, so we won't talk about it, whatever. We know, you know, we don't want anybody feeling any kind of way or for us telling our truth. I mean, you know, you would think we would be allowed to do that, right? But that's neither here nor there. So out of all of your performances at church, performances at school, what stood out, like, from the time you started performing? Whether it was hot stepping, whether it was a song that you led, whether it was a piece from a flute performance, what performances that you could remember stood out to you, like why you were heavy in performance?
I think the main ones that really stood out to me was our competitions, when we went to competition.
Hot stepping competition?
Yeah, the hot stepping competition. And
they still be talking about those to this day on Facebook.
Yeah, when I was
the hot steppers.
In high school, when I was in band, just going to those different competitions and you know, performing and stuff. I felt real special because I was the only 9th grader on the squad. So everybody used to look at me, everybody in the class used to look at me like, how did that happen?
Let's unpack that a little bit though, because I remember, obviously, we lived on 168th and Dines for a while. Mm-hmm. We moved to Warrensville when we was 11 or 12, but we continued to go to public schools, Cleveland public schools.
Yeah.
And then I remember, you know, both of us coming to Warrensville in 9th grade. Obviously, we never went to Warrensville schools. Mm-hmm. So everybody like, who are these twins? But I pretty much hit the ground running in football. I was playing varsity football as a freshman. Yeah. I was the only freshman playing varsity football. And you hit the ground running with hot stepping. You was the only freshman. Who was on the varsity. Like, what is our call? It was just one hot stepping team, or was that the varsity hot stepping team, or like?
It was just one, so it was everybody, all grades. But normally you would have to be in 10th grade. You normally have to do 10th to 12th grades. They never let freshmen on the squad.
Yeah.
You but I was just lucky. I was blessed because Shania put in that good word for me and allowed me to try out. And I already had coordination. I already could kick high.
Because you had done it in middle school.
Yeah, I already could remember dances. You know what I'm saying? So that was nothing.
And I remember at that time, like Warrensville High Steppers, it was like a big deal.
Yeah.
Around, like, it was like a big local deal around Cleveland. Like,
Yeah.
people would come to the games to see the Warrensville High Steppers. Like, I remember just coming in as a freshman, it was like a big deal. Like, oh, she a captain for a High Stepper team. Like,
Yeah.
I think that girl name was like Fatima or somebody else. I just remember that shit being a big deal at Warrensville for some reason.
Yeah. When I first came, I think Taisha was my captain. Yeah, in my 9th grade year, Taisha was the captain. And yeah, it was cool. Everyone was nice. Everyone was friendly. Those were experiences that stood out to me. And then one time I was singing in church. I don't know what happened, but I was singing in church and like I started crying while I was singing. I don't know what came over me. Like, it was just like, I don't really remember what was going on at the time, what I was feeling, but
Okay.
like, cause when I'm singing, I feel like I'm being very vulnerable.
Right,
like
right.
that's me and my art, me expressing myself, and
You're sensitive about your shit.
Yeah.
As an artist.
super sensitive.
Right.
And I feel like, honestly, that's probably the reason why I don't sing as much as I used to, because it's just like music is so objective. Like, everybody
Right.
got different opinions. Like,
Yeah.
what's good
Everybody
to you
hear music
may
different.
not be good to someone else. And
Right.
So, but I mean, that's just my own troubles that I'm dealing with, that as far as, my insecurity or whatever. But
Okay. That's real.
I mean, I know that's something I like to do. I know that's something I enjoy doing. I know that, I'm passionate about it. So I guess that's really all that matters.
Right. I totally agree. So, without obviously going into detail about our specific experiences, we won't. This is not an episode where we discuss that. But to be honest, I think maybe in a couple years or something like that, maybe we will be in a space to comfortably talk about some of our experiences, like, in a detailed way. Like, I'm not even there right now, and I'm sure you're not either. But what is your opinion on physical abuse and verbal abuse, like, to kids, like maybe under 14? Like, obviously, we live in a different world now. Like, in the 90s, when we grew up, there was no social media, there were no camera phones, it was none of that. So it wasn't big and as prevalent to the world as it is now, right? But just what's your opinion on that? Neither one of us have kids yet. We decided to take our time, but just give me your viewpoint on give me your viewpoint, your opinion on the topic of physical abuse, verbal abuse, and what are some things that you just completely don't agree with that if you have kids you won't do now, like do to them. You won't redistribute what you went through, like, you know what I'm saying? Just talk about that a little bit.
I feel that, children are precious. They're precious. They are adorable. They're very, they depend on you. They look up to you. You're in a powerful position.
No.
They're vulnerable, and so I feel like no child should be abused emotionally, physically. They're vulnerable. They're still learning. They're still developing.
Right.
And, as I get older, I realize that your environment plays a lot into the upbringing of the child.
Right.
The environment plays a lot into the mother, who she is, and
Right.
what type of surroundings she are putting her children in just during her pregnancy. You know what I'm saying? What is she going through? Like, all that shit is important, I feel sometimes like people, we make mistakes. We're not always the best people of character. We don't always
We're
make
learning as we go.
the best decisions.
Yeah.
And with time you learn more. You learn how to you learn what not to do, because you know how it felt when it was done to you or something like that.
Right.
You basically, you got kids raising kids, so you can't knock them. They still learning and growing themselves. They don't know.
Right.
But yeah,
And that's and not to cut you off, but that's something that I've learned through my process is like, as much as there may be resentment or some ill feelings, like you said, it's kids raising kids.
for
So
sure.
you got to think about it. We're 32. When our dad was 32, we were 14.
I just feel
You know
like
what I mean? When my mom was 32, we were 16. We were almost grown. We were in 10th grade.
Yeah.
So
It's
just
wild.
think about that dynamic. That, you know what I mean? Like you said, still kids raising kids.
It's
like,
really wild.
We were basically we were damn near grown teenagers when they were our age. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
They was forced to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they couldn't play around with it. They was forced to get it done, and
Yeah.
and they got it done. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right, we still here. You know?
we still here. We healthy. We smart. You know, we're ambitious. We're creative. We're strong. You know, we've endured, and we're blessed. You
Right.
know.
Totally agree.
But when I have children, I know that, you know, I'll try my best not to physically abuse them. You know what I'm saying? But you got to put your foot down. Like they can't be spoiled. They got to respect you.
Right.
They got to know what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. I'll keep it real with them. I want them to respect me when they get older. I want them to respect me as an adult, and that comes with honesty. That comes with humility. That comes with taking responsibility for your actions.
Right.
You know, good and bad.
Good
you
and
know,
bad. Yeah.
because just because you're a parent, that don't mean that you can't learn.
Right.
As adults, we still learning.
Right.
As adults, I'm figuring out things or doing things that I've never done before. So, parents is gonna be no different. You know.
That's totally real.
I definitely want to build them up. I want to support their dreams. I want to tell them that they can do anything because you really can. This is America,
Right.
the land of fucking free. Like we have so many
You can do anything you put your mind
opportunities
to.
here that other places don't. You know,
Right.
we're not struggling trying to figure out where our next meal is gonna come from. Like mentally, we're able to be healthy. You know, because we're in a good position to succeed. And
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with all that stuff. Like you said, you know, whenever we have kids, you want them to be able to respect you when they get older. And for me, like, I just agree with that so much from what you said. It's like, that's why you have to lead with honesty. You have to lead with humility, because at the end of the day, that's the only way your kids are gonna respect you.
Yeah.
Once they get grown.
Yeah.
If you've lived a life of lies almost the whole time that they've been born, like it was going to be hard for them to respect you. You know what I mean? Like, because you're trying to find out the truth. You don't know what the truth is and what it's not. You know what I mean? So that's what I've learned. Like, once I have kids, it's like, no matter what, just honesty. Keep it real. Keep it 1,000. Keep it 100. Like, acknowledge when you did something wrong. Like, you know,
For sure.
and try not to make that same mistake again. You know what I mean? Like, of course,
And
we know kids who had it worse.
We survived, you know what I'm saying, and motherfuckers still did their best. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like
right.
it's we don't know what it was like for them coming up. You know, all we know is what people tell us, and we know that it was rough.
Right.
I mean, you know.
Yep.
We can only imagine what the 60s and 70s was like.
Right.
But we don't know because we wasn't there.
Right.
So.
I agree. And that's where I've been able to find some level of like compassion. It's funny, like maybe 2019, 2018, I thought my compassion was like at its highest. And I ain't going to lie, within the last 6 months of this year, I've lost some compassion. Like, my heart has hardened a little bit. You know what I mean? For certain situations, you know, I won't go into detail, but that's something that I'm just honestly just working through, trying to get it better. You know, you can't rush your process. Like you said, you can't compare times. Everybody's not going to be able to do some stuff at certain times. Some people need more time than others, you know? And I think I need a little more time as well, so, yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, like me, I'm the type of person, I think I've always been nice. I've always been forgiving. Really young, really when I was young, because I was so naive. But like as time has gone on, I remind myself that, you know, no one's perfect, and I want the same grace that I would give to someone else, you know, because I know that I can be off the chain sometimes, or say some rude stuff, or you know, just not be the most supportive or friendly at times, but I want to, and I have good intentions on doing so.
Right.
So, yeah, you know, no one's perfect. And then sometimes you just have to meet people where they are, treat people how they are.
Exactly.
The person that shows you who they is, so you accept them for who they is and keep it moving.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I know this person talks a lot, I tell them things I want people to know. You know what I'm saying?
If you know there's something that you don't want them to know, you don't tell them.
If I know this person is a thief, I don't bring my shit out around them. You know what I'm saying? I don't tell them nothing personal. I don't want them stealing my shit. Anything original, I don't share with them.
Right.
So
Answer this. What do you do when someone continuously lies to you about everything? That's something that you can't control. How do you handle that? Keep it moving.
Yeah, you just have to.
You block out some things. You take in some things.
Exactly. You just ignore shit. You just be like, okay, you know what to listen to, you know what to take in, you know what not to. Because you're smart.
Right.
You're not dumb. You're pretty intelligent.
You know better than that.
You know, and it's like, you know, you know when someone's lying to you, and they know when they lying. And it's like the fact that they know when they lying, it's like it's on them. Right. You don't have nothing to do with them because that's them.
Right.
You have to still be true to who you are.
Exactly.
You have to tell the truth. You have to. You know what I'm saying, be honest. You have to be, transparent. Right. Because the more you're that way, it makes people want to be that way.
Exactly, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, they be like, oh, I mean, I can't do this to her because she's so real, or she's so, people done told me so many times, Briana, you so real, Briana, you so real. Like, yeah. I just am, like, and I don't have time for your games. Like, don't try to play me, you know, because I can see right through you. Don't try to play me, you know, but that comes with times too, you know. Right. When you're young, you think everyone is nice. Oh, everyone's nice. No, they would never do that. Yes, the fuck they will. Right. They will lie to you. They will cheat. They will steal. They will set you up. They will, you know, fuck over your shit. Talk bad about you. Try to put your name in the mud. Try to bring your shit down. Give you bad advice.
Fuck your finances up. Yeah. Tell you can't do shit. Tell you can't do something. When they're really just scared or know they can't do it, all that kind of stuff, man. I agree so much. I agree. I agree with that, and I appreciate your honest candor. You know what I mean regarding that subject. So dive back into high school for me. Obviously, I think me and you kind of went on a whirlwind. We always lived together for 16 years, but I think a big shift happened when I went and lived with my dad in the city, 110 miles. We started going to Denville. And you stayed living with our mother and continued going to Warrensville. I wouldn't say we got less close, but obviously we just stopped seeing each other. Like, I would only see you on the weekends when I would come over, or it got to a point where I wouldn't even come over every weekend. It started to get to a point where I started coming over every other weekend. So I go from seeing you every day for 16 years to, by the time you're 16, I see you 2 to 6 times a month.
Yeah, that was
I think we didn't really unpack that really, like, because we just was moving through our lives. We trying to figure shit out. We trying to graduate from high school. We trying to figure out what college we gonna go to.
And I was a teenager. I was still fucking adolescent. You know what I'm saying?
We both was, right. So
I didn't know a lot. There was a lot I didn't know. But I do know when we moved, I think we moved to Lawrenceville when we were 11. That was the last time.
No, Warrensville, yeah.
Yeah, that was the last time where I encountered that situation with my dad. And honestly, when we moved, I was kind of relieved. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was.
That's real.
I was happy. You know what I'm saying?
Because you knew at the end of the day, at least you wouldn't have to get those experiences anymore.
I mean, we went through that from 5 through 11, like
6 years.
That's a lot to almost to when we teenagers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I think I was just like still trying to figure everything out, you know,
Right,
what's
same
going on
here.
with them. And
Right,
I
same
mean,
here.
I knew I loved you and I always wanted to be close to you or whatever, but you was a boy and I was a girl. And so, you know, natural, you probably wanted to go with my dad and I was going to stay with mom, you know.
Right. Yeah, I remember not necessarily thinking about those bad experiences, like, oh, we don't got to deal with those no more. I was more so trying to figure out what their situation was going to be. I knew they was getting a divorce, but it's like, all right, is he not ever coming around at all? Do we just go over there on the weekends? Like, is my mom going to be like lying about our behaviors and getting, and getting us in trouble? So I was just trying to figure that out. Like, I was trying to navigate through that, like just, like you said, still try to be like a good kid, take care of our responsibilities, do what we're supposed to do. But also, yeah, just stay out of the clear of trouble. Like, we don't want to be getting in trouble, getting knocked around everywhere and all that shit. Like, you know what I mean? So,
but it's interesting that you bring that up because it's just like I never really even thought about that. But it's like, it's so true because I think when I was in high school, I didn't really talk to my dad that much. I don't think I did. Like, we didn't really see each other a lot. You know what I'm saying? We went over there a few times, like during the summer. And
he used to, remember we used to go to Popeyes every Monday.
I remember that.
He used to pick us up from school. We used to go to Popeyes every Monday. I used to love that.
But I didn't really see him that much.
Yeah.
But
Scoot back, Bree. You off the screen.
But yeah, like, it's all good.
Yeah. So since we were so young, you never really thought much into it. Like, damn, I only saw Brian twice this month.
Yeah.
And I used to like wake up to him. You know what I'm saying? We see each other every day. Like, you didn't really think nothing of it. Because to be honest, Bree, I never thought a lot about it when I was 16, 17. Because if you remember, I used to have to wake up at 4:30 just to get to school at 7:30, like with 2 buses. Yeah. So I was so immersed in the grind. I used to be at practice till 7:30, 8 o'clock p.m., football, basketball. Even when I transferred to Glenville, it was like, I was so immersed in sports and my days used to go so fast. I don't even think I had the emotional intelligence to think about, like, damn, I ain't seen Bree all month. Or, oh shit, I miss Bree. Like, oh, I wonder what Bree doing. I didn't get that till later on. Like, I legitimately just used to be focused on my process, not getting in trouble, doing everything I had to do in school, keeping good grades. I was just immersed in the process, not getting in trouble, not doing shit crazy, no crazy shit, like, you know, not getting influenced by all the bad influences we had growing up in the neighborhood. I just think about that stuff more. So it's funny that you kind of felt the same way. I don't feel like neither one of us was emotionally intelligent to really even realize, like, yeah, that's my twin, but damn, I ain't seen her all month. Like,
we just was like, you was doing your thing with sports, I was doing my thing with. And then remember, Trey was just born too. Trey was born when he was 14.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot going on right there.
Yeah, it was.
He was born when he was 13, and then he was turning 14.
Yeah, we was in 8th grade. Yep. There's a lot going on with that.
So you know, Trey was my baby. Like, I would always take Trey with me.
That's our dog, you know that.
He would go to my practices with me, and I think a lot of times too, like, I just tuned that shit out. Like, I never really tried to think about my childhood. Like, I never really tried to, at least all the bad parts. Like, there were still good parts too, but at least all the bad parts, I
think everybody has good and bad parts in their childhood, you know?
But I think that's probably why I have issues. Probably why, you know, I've never been to therapy, and I know I probably should go. I know I probably need to go to therapy.
You know, I've been telling y'all I have to go.
Yeah, like, I've never been. I mean, it probably would be good for me, you know?
Tell me this, not to get off topic, because I want to tell you, I want to talk about what went into your decision to choose Ohio State, you know, in high school. I want to talk about that process, how you were looking at colleges, things like that. Before we talk about that, get off topic a little bit. A few years ago now, on other of my episodes, I've talked about kind of like having a breakdown a couple years ago, like out of nowhere on like a Saturday in November, and basically like bawling, uncontrollably crying, falling to the ground, can't move my body. And I remember FaceTiming you, like calling you, because I didn't know what to do, basically. And
and I had never seen you like that.
I know, and just being honest, because you know a lot of people maybe sometimes may lie or cut corners in their stories. But the fact that I have you here, I always wanted to ask you, what were you thinking when I called you? Because that shit really happened. And I remember actually calling you like, yo, like bawling, like couldn't hardly talk, like, why did this happen? Why did this happen to us? Why did we go through that? I legitimately just had a full breakdown. It's like basically took over my body. So you were in Columbus, I was in Atlanta. Talk about that experience from your viewpoint. What were you thinking? Because I remember you just trying to kept telling me like, calm down, breathe.
Yeah.
You do this, do that, trying to walk me through some steps.
Yeah.
But just talk about, what was that like from your viewpoint? It was just a random Saturday, and then get that call from me. Just walk me through that, like from your viewpoint.
I was very shocked. I was very surprised. Because I've never seen you that way. You've always held your shit together. Like,
always, you know that.
You've never been like that, so I knew you was really distraught. And I just wanted to be supportive. I wanted you to feel like you can express yourself and that it's okay to be emotional and that it's okay to, you know, tell me how you feel or whatever, because obviously this is something that's bothering you and this is important and this is something that you need to get out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we're stepping into our adulthood. It's things that we have to deal with so we can get to that next level.
Exactly.
So I knew that it was something that was important to you. And I just wanted to be supportive, you know. And then when you asked me, you was like, Briana, no, like, you shouldn't have to forget it. Like, you shouldn't have to put it on the road. Like, you should address it. And I was like, well, you know, maybe you're right. You know, because me doing that could affect how I treat men in my life. You know what I'm saying? Or
how you treat your kids in the future if you haven't.
Or any relationships that I have with people, you know. Because I feel like a lot of people judge me before they get to know me, you know, like, and then when they see what type of person I am, then they be like, oh, okay, you know, she's cool, she's sweet, she's a sweet girl. Yeah. But I feel like pain changes us, you know what I'm saying? Like, pain has us acting in peculiar ways. We do things that we wouldn't normally do because we're fucking hurt.
Exactly.
And it's like...
That's too true.
You know, but it takes grace to understand that shit. It takes intelligence to see that people hurt people. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that when you are down, when you're not feeling your best, that can come out in your actions and the way you talk to people and what you decide to say and things you decide to do, dreams you decide to chase, opportunities you decide to go for. Right. Cause like me, even in the midst of all my mess, all the poor decisions I made, all the times I felt like I lost and I backtracked and I had to start over. Right. I've still survived somehow. You know what I'm saying? Like I've still
and that's what I tell you all the time. Right. I tell you that all the time. Like you've had to start over so many times, you know, and only as we've gotten older, I've really like gained a like reverence for you. Like that's why I always say like that, Bree, like you were supposed to go through that to get to here. Cause now you're here and now it's like it's your time now. Like
yeah.
But you had to go through you had to go through all the BS and make your bad decisions and start over all these different times to get here. So it's like it shows your steadfastness. It shows that you're not a quitter, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're still here, like.
For sure.
And I think that kind of makes me, like, be glad that we were raised. Some of the aspects of which we were raised like that. You never quit. Like, fall out sometimes, get up 8. Now, yes, there's some things that we don't appreciate, like, on some different ways that we were raised that we don't appreciate, that we still working through. But it was also some things that built us and molded us to who we are now. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely, that stick-to-itiveness, that
it ain't always gonna be easy. Like,
that hope that something bigger and better is there or coming. You know, just trying to be positive. There's definitely times where I wanted to quit. There's definitely times where I didn't have a clue what to do. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, man, what should I do here? Like, I just don't know. And there's been plenty of times where I've cried. You know what I'm saying? Just cry uncontrollably.
I know you did, because you know you're an emotional person. And you would cry to jump in the hat. That's one thing I remember, like, Bree, like, why you crying? Like, it'd be something small that happen, like, bro. Yeah. Like, Bree, it's going to be okay. You can't find your glasses. We're going to find them. Just relax.
Like, and I know it's because I have issues. That stuff is stressing me out. I don't like that.
Right.
And I mean, you know, I'm dealing with it.
Right. No, that's real.
And look at that parasailing. That looks so fun. You ever been parasailing?
Man, never. I would love to do it though. Have you been?
I've never been either.
Crazy.
That looks so dope.
I wish I could reverse the camera you all and show you all we're at the beach here in Fort Lauderdale, and
look,
this
it's
parasailing
3 of
over
them
the
on there.
Atlantic Ocean looks so cool right now.
Is it 3 or 2?
I wish I could show you all, but we don't have the appropriate amount of cameras, so we got to keep this thing rolling. So yeah, like go back to like 2006. You're a senior at Warrensville. I'm a senior at Glenville. Obviously, I'm like this big time recruit. I'm getting recruited. I'm going on all these visits. I'm not really sure where I'm gonna go to college at. You're starting to get like academic letters because you excel academically in high school. Mm-hmm. Walk me through your process. Like, what schools did you apply to? What schools were your top 3 that you were thinking about attending? And then why ultimately did you choose Ohio State to further your education? Which I think they gave you like a partial scholarship. Your whole tuition wasn't paid for, but you got most of it paid for. Walk me through that process.
So honestly, I chose Ohio State just because it was a big school. Yeah, I think I chose it just because it was a big school. It was the hype, and I heard great things about it. And
were you looking at any other schools in Ohio?
And then also because remember Lanisha, she had moved to Columbus a few years before.
Oh, yeah,
and I would go to Columbus with her sometimes just to spend a weekend. I was really like in the city.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to Ohio State, you know. And there was 3 other schools I was considering. They all was in Ohio. It was just Ohio State, Bowling Green, and I think it was OU. Oh yeah, Ohio University. And honestly, Ohio State was the only school I applied to. I was nervous.
I never knew that. I thought you applied to a couple other schools.
I was nervous. I'm like, please let me get in. And I sure enough, I got in, you know, because my ACT scores, they wasn't that great. I think I got like a 17, you know.
I did too. On the ACT, I got a 17.
But that's an average score.
But it is an average score. But my GPA was so high.
Yeah, mine was too.
And with with athletics, if you have a high GPA, you don't have to get a high ACT score.
Right.
You just need a certain one to pass the whatever the requirements are.
Because I think you was in the top 20 in your school.
I was top 5.
You was top 5. I think I was like number 12. So I was in the top 20.
Okay.
But we both had high GPAs. I
we
just
both
had
did.
a whole bunch of smart ass people in my class.
You did. It wasn't that many. I went from like 15 at Warrensville to like 3 at Glenville. I think my cum GPA was like a 3.9 or something like that.
Yeah.
By the time I graduated, I had got it over a 4.0. It was like a 4.2 by the time I graduated, but I was still like 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, I think mine was like a 3.6, 3.7. So, and so I think that definitely helped me out, you know, with the admission letters, having to write those essays, and you know, I was always good at writing, and you know, we excelled academically, so that was cool.
So, talk about that transition. I feel like this always gets lost in translation. When you're a normal college student or a college a student athlete, and you go from, you know, the inner city of Cleveland or wherever you're from to this Big Ten gigantic university, and you learning socially who your friends are, you learning academically, taking in information, trying to better yourself, getting your education. I feel like that transition is always crazy. So like, my transition was crazy because I was 8 hours from Cleveland, 10 hours from Columbus, in a predominantly white state, in a predominantly white school at the University of Iowa. You went to Ohio State, where that's a predominantly white Big Ten university as well. Mm-hmm. So talk about your transition when my mom dropped you off, or when they took you down to school and dropped you off. How did you like kind of acclimate yourself to the university? What did you struggle with during that transition? Because for me, I struggled socially. I actually did okay academically. My grades weren't as good as I wanted them to be that first semester, but they weren't bad. I struggled more socially because I had never went to school with white people. You know, we never went to school with no white people.
Yeah.
So that was a big stepping stone for me socially, because I wasn't used to being in a class of 200 people and all white people, and then living in the dorms with mostly white people. Like, that dynamic socially was different for me. It took me a couple months to get used to it. So what was your transition like starting at Ohio State?
I mean,
Was it easy for you,
I would say that I addressed it pretty well, like, because I had a lot of support. Like, I had Tasha, I had Shay. They stayed in the same building as me, so we hung out a lot.
Okay.
Sade, Kanika, all the girls I went to Ohio State with. We stayed in touch a lot, and
Y'all hear that? We vibing over here.
Trey about to change the music though.
Yeah, our little brother's about to change it and put on some rap. No, so you feel like you transitioned well?
Yeah, like it wasn't bad because at OSU, like it's predominantly white, but there's a lot of black people too, and they have like those minority clubs and like programs where it's just for black people, and like facilities where you can go where it's just for black people. You know what I'm saying? Where just mainly black people go there. So and that's why I always was around the sororities and the fraternities, because I feel like these are my people. That's why I want to be around. That's why I want to surround myself with. And the campus is not as big as you think. Like, it's huge, but it's like most of your classes on Central Campus. There's so many resources available. I feel like when I was young, I took a lot of things for granted. Like I took those opportunities for granted. Like I didn't take advantage of a lot of things I couldn't take advantage of, but life has taught me as time goes on, like, hey, education is important. It's the only way, especially when you're black, especially when you're female.
Yeah.
Like,
in a lot of ways, it gets you in the door with certain jobs at certain companies and all that stuff.
Yeah, education is key. And, we know that our situation is very unique, like, because the people that we come from, they're very unique in their own ways.
Very unique, yeah.
It's just different. There's really nothing else I can say. It's just different.
Yeah, it's different.
But we're doing the best we can.
That's always been something hard for me, is just not compare. Because when you compare, it's almost like laughable. Like, really? This is really what we have to deal with? This is really what it is? Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's been my main focusing point, not comparing, just like you said, we know we have a unique situation. So we're not gonna talk about, some things that you went through in your 20s and shit like that. But if you could describe your 20s in 3 words or 1 word, think about this a little bit. What would you describe it as? Because obviously now you've turned it around, you on a straight and narrow.
I'm trying
you're doing your thing,
I'm still trying, I'm fighting. I'm still trying to turn it around.
Exactly.
Man, my 20s
So
was
what would you describe it as? Like,
my 20s were so crazy. My 20s was, man, that shit was eventful. That shit, I could write a book about that shit.
Right. I think you should. Like, eventful is like the perfect word.
Yeah, I would just say it was very eventful because I was still so naive. I remember that, during those times I was still so precious, and I've always had a good heart. I got a good heart. I like to give to people. I want my family to be good. Like, but I made a lot of poor decisions, and I'm still dealing with them. And that's what happened in life. We always got to deal with the decisions we make. Yep. You might not have to deal with it right away, but that shit gonna come back to you.
Always. It always do.
It's gonna come back to you.
Definitely.
And you just gotta be ready for it.
Yeah. Everybody, like you said, everybody makes mistakes.
But
yeah, I always wanted to hear how would you describe all those fucking years? Because it was so much that went on, and it all kind of seems like a blur now because it's so far back removed. But I always wanted to hear what you called it or how you would describe it.
And like you said, my journey was a part of my journey. It's unique because for some reason I had to go through that. I had to endure those things. I had to experience those things.
Right.
I've wisened up in a lot of ways, and I'm just doing the best that I can. I didn't let the no stop me. I didn't let having less stop me. Right. I didn't let having nothing stop me. I didn't let
You persevered.
Right.
And I definitely always admire that about you, just your perseverance. I've even kind of had a few out of body experiences. Like, damn, like Breezy's still in this motherfucker. Like, she's still out here fighting. She's still out here trying to get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's always something that I've admired about you. Like, and just proud, that I'm your brother and all those kinds of things. Something that I think about now, as I continue to move through therapy is like, just the importance of how it was when we was growing up to protect you. And it became so just nothing. I never thought about it. Like, oh, where I go, okay, I gotta make sure I breathe good. But now that I think about it and really think about those spaces, it's like that shit used to be actually kind of crazy because those blocks that we used to walk through, people get killed over there all the time nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's like, whether it was Imperial off of 116th, 128th and Kinsman, 169th and Dines, all the way up Lee Road, Lotus, where Elliott was at, or Glendale, where Gracemont was at, or Harvard, you know, where Whitney Young was at. Like, and I was known as like the smart guy. I was always in honors classes. Everybody knew me as a smart athlete. I was in honors classes and I was an athlete. But protecting you as well, that's, when you think about it, that really ain't no easy task. Like, but for me, it was like I never thought of it as a hard task because that was just a part of my life. It's like, before me, I gotta make sure it be cool. Wherever we go, whatever we doing, whether we going to Random Mall, we going skating, like we here on Friday, I gotta make sure it be cool before anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's definitely taught me awareness and just kind of always keep having my head on the swivel, like just kind of always in that protective mode, like especially when I'm with women, especially when I'm with you, like things of that nature. So I kind of appreciate that as I've gotten older because it was just a part of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, last question. What were some lessons, or like, what would you say is Briana Daniel's after effect from performance arts, from high stepping, from playing the flute, being a lead singer for years? What were some lessons that you learned during practice, you know, singing and playing the flute and being a high stepper for 6 to 7 years? What were some lessons that you learned during that time at your highest of being an artist that you learned and you kind of carry with you now as you continue to persevere through life and continue to pursue, we got to talk about that, but continuing to pursue that acting bug. You started acting before me, you kind of got me into it, but I've always felt like you were more of an artist than me. So what were some lessons that you learned through all those that you kind of carry with you now, you know, kind of basically as we try to push the culture forward? I know earlier you said you alluded to discipline and things like that.
Learn discipline, learn strength, learn endurance, learn coordination, learn to flex my memory. I think one of the main important things is just to be true to who I am, to be myself, to not be afraid of my truth. I can say what I've done and what I've been through honestly and be cool with it. With that shit. Yes, I'm still pursuing, I'm still making it, but I'm making progress slowly but surely. I feel like I'm okay with being where I'm at and being okay with who I am and my flaws, you know? Because I've been through so much, I feel like it does come out in the way I write, the way I sing. People always be like, oh, you've been through some stuff. Like, oh, you got something special. Oh, you really got talent. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that comes with time, you know? But like, yeah, I'm not pressed for fame. Like, you know, I'm not
fame or approval, none of that shit.
Yeah, I just want to be who I am, you know, and still express myself with my art because I do love art and I love performing and I love using what God gave me. And I do feel like that, you know, I went through all of that for a reason, and we still pursuing and
exactly.
I'm graduating in 6 weeks. Like it's all good times.
All right, all good times. So proud of you.
And I'm gonna keep pushing, you know, to get to that next level. Like nothing can stop you. You're the only person that can stop you. That's what a lot of that.
You can do anything you put your mind to.
And you just gotta do the research, and nobody gonna do that shit for you. You gotta dig deep and find out where it's at. You know, I'm not thrilled on looks. I'm not thrilled on what I have. You know, I want to change people's lives. Like I want them to remember me. Like, oh, she was a good soul. Like she was a good person. Like.
Not like, oh, she had money or she had
was
this.
Real as fuck. She was cool as fuck. Like she sacrificed. Like she had a good heart. Like she was funny. She, you know. It's not even about all that other stuff. Like you saying, you know, we're getting older, so we have to make sure that we are good moving forward. Like we have to set the standard for generations to come. When we do decide to have kids, like we got to set them up for success. You know. We gotta at least try to.
Exactly. And you already know we got our own things going on that where we're trying to do that in real time, like, and put real plays together. That's gonna put us in better position, put our future families in better positions, and we got to start doing it together. When you have it, when you're in a unique situation like we are, so I love that after effect, consistency, and discipline, and just being steadfast, not quitting. You know what I mean? I love that.
No doubt.
So yeah, before we end this, talk about like just if you can remember your first acting gig in Ohio. What got you into acting? Because obviously you were a performing artist, you were a lead singer, played the flute, you were a hot stepper, you were a dancer. So you used to performing in all these different aspects. What intrigued you about acting in Ohio? And just talk about that journey as far as auditions, gigs. Because I think a lot of times the fame and all the shit that people see on TV allows them to think that they can just act and just get it like that, like so quick, like it's an easy thing to get.
Man,
and as
so
we both
hard.
know, it's not.
It's so hard, like.
So talk about how did you get into acting, and then how is kind of that pursuit then? Because you've been with like agencies and all that. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I mean, when I was in high school, I was in drama club, and so I performed in plays, and I liked it. I realized that I was able to look at a script, learn some lines, and perform them, you know? So, you know, that's what intrigued me. So then, you know, I personally wish I could have started when I was like 18, 19. But for some reason, I didn't really start till I was like 22, you know, almost 25. You know, when they say you hit 25, you almost old. They want you to be like 18 and 24.
Yeah.
They want you to be young and fresh. And so, I don't know why, LeBron. because when I was 16, 17, 18, I was going through all this stuff with my mom. Like, it killed my self-esteem. It killed my drive, my passion. Yeah. Man, I've been performing all the time. I was probably in my prime at that time. I probably really could have booked some really good roles.
You definitely was.
I wasn't afraid. I wasn't concerned.
You was kind of. It's funny. You was kind of like a Lizzo, cause like you could sing, you could play the flute, but you was like in better shape. Yeah. You had rhythm. You could dance. You was the captain of the Hot 17. Like, imagine if you would have rode that wave at 18, when you could do all those things. Like. Yeah. And so even then, you know, I just remember one day I was talking to my dad on the phone. He was like, you know what, Bree, you should be a model. You should be in New York. You need to Google some agencies. You need to call them. You need to audition because you're supposed to be in New York plus size model. Like, I remember when he said that to me. He said, you know what, Dad, I'm gonna try it. But he had never said that before. Maybe if he would have said that earlier, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so when I did it, I realized I Googled all the agencies in Ohio, and I started sending my pictures. I started emailing, and then 2 had hit me back. Yeah. 2 months later, 2 had hit me back, and I was like, oh shit, you know, I might have potential. Yeah. And so, you know, from that day, I went through the training. The people that was like, oh, you know how to do makeup, like, like the girl that was on TV, she was like, look how she's posing, like. She's confident. Like, they pointed me out, like, to other people, to other talent that they were developing, like, you know. And so, and then there was still a lot I was going through. Like, I just learned in the industry, learning, like, how they want you to look natural, how you really shouldn't wear a lot of makeup. Like, you should wear your own fucking hair. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they want you to be you. They want you to know. They want to know who you really are. You know, developing a character, really diving in, thinking back for some more shit. You know what I'm saying? For some real shit and bringing that emotion out. Just learn that. That intrigued me. Like, I realized that I can look at the script and I can remember that shit. And so that means that I have the ability to do it. Right. And so, yeah, I mean, that was pretty much my own thing. Like, I've never really had like no lead roles. The only lead role I had was in and playing. But I've been on a runway. I've done fashion shows. You know, I've done bridal shows. That's what I model bridal gowns and hair shows because I wear my real hair, so they be wanting to style my hair. You know, Lanza and what was that other one? Revlon. I auditioned a few times with Paul Mitchell. I never got it though. But you know, I love hearing that because I tell people all the time. People ask me how I got into acting, and I always say, like, you know, my twin sister have been doing it way before me. Like, she's always been a more talented artist. I was obviously a better athlete. Like, you know, that's why I played football for 20 years. But you've always been more of an artist than me. I'm just now finding myself with the acting and writing and leading in and producing my first short film, hosting my own podcast, creating my own content. I'm just now really getting into it. So I wanted that inside look on, what you felt.
And I probably could do it too, like
easily. You can have your own podcast easily.
And I think athleticism is something naturally that's instilled with me too.
Right.
Like
it's in our blood. That's in our bloodline.
Yeah.
Being athletic. So yeah, before we end this episode, quick hitters. So I'm gonna ask you a question and you gotta give me an answer as quick as you can. It's gonna be simple. It don't have to be a one-word answer, but it gotta be quick. It gotta be faster than 5 seconds.
Okay.
Best advice you ever got from anybody?
Best advice I ever got: save some money.
Okay. For me, it was you know where this came from. You make good decisions, good things happen.
Yeah. You make bad decisions, bad things don't happen.
Make bad decisions, bad things happen. That's like the most simplest statement, but it's so true.
Yeah,
You know what
in
I
every
mean?
aspect.
Every aspect, any aspect. Save money. Okay. What was the worst advice you thought you ever received? When somebody told you this as advice, you was like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? What was the worst?
Worst advice? Don't buy a house. You don't need to buy a house. You don't got a family yet, so you don't need to buy a house.
Okay, I got you. Last quick hitter. Who is the best female performance artist ever? And who is the best male performance artist ever? In your opinion?
Best female performer?
Huh? I feel like I know who you're gonna say.
Best female performer is gonna be
Best female, best male. You over 5 seconds, Bree.
I am.
Supposed to be quick hitters.
Okay, well the best male is Michael Jackson.
Of course. I agree with that one.
The best female, I'm stuck between Beyonce and Whitney Houston.
Okay. For some reason, I just knew you were going to go with Beyonce.
You did?
Because you was like, you were part of the Beehive. You was like, been in love with her since we was like 9 or 8 years old.
I mean, she's a great performer. And there's no other artist like her.
Right.
And people don't pay attention, but she really can sing. She really can sing naturally, like without having to be in the studio. That's my thing. That's how you hear vocals. What do people sound like when they're not in the studio?
When they're not in the studio.
You know what I'm saying?
Just
Like
natural.
Or yeah.
Or acapella.
Acapella, yeah,
Acapella,
with
yeah.
no music in the background. That's vocals right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how you.
There's so many ways you can enhance your voice now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why when she started rapping with Jay-Z, I wasn't feeling that shit. Because I felt like he was taking away her singing. Like, why did she gotta rap? I mean, it's cool, it sounds good. He had his flair on everything. But no, Beyonce is a singer. Like, she can really sing for real.
Right.
Niggas just be hating. They don't understand. I'm a Destiny Child fan. I was there when she was 16.
Right.
I was there when she was singing in the church choir, okay? She can blow.
I tell people all the time, like, I literally remember every song from the album Writings on the Wall because you used to play that shit every fucking day. Like, I can still see those songs word to word because I remember you playing that shit all the time, non-stop. Like,
I did used to play all the time, but you know, music
and
was
you can
my
sing,
escape.
and you can sing all those songs too.
Brandy, Monica, that was my stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
Tweet, I like Tweet.
Tweet. Yeah, you did like Tweet for a while.
I like Eve. I like Lauryn Hill. We like all that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. In closing though, I just want to say that, you know, you're doing a great job, LeBron. I just want you to, you know, just be forgiving, be open-minded. Know that things will continue to grow and get better, and you can't force nobody to change, but you got to do your work, and you got to do your part. And your part is just to be who you are. Be honest, be respectful, and keep it moving.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're still a grown man, you an adult, and the respect isn't given, it's earned.
Exactly. Oh, I totally agree. I'm gonna always be respectful. I'm I'm always, continue to try to grow and have grace and have compassion. But I'm also, after doing those things, I'm gonna keep it moving. Like, keep the vibes high, keep the vibes good. You see, we're super blessed on vacation this summer in 2021. Last summer in 2020, we couldn't go anywhere. The world was shut down, so it's a blessing for us to be able to spend time with each other, with our little brother, with our family, and take in these beach vibes. Like, you know what I mean? Because a year ago, we didn't have this opportunity. So.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate you joining. One thing that I've been trying to pride myself on this year, in literally all my episodes, 2020 was a weird year. We've never walked through a coronavirus pandemic. It was very special on my heart to increase or enhance our relationship because of COVID, because we just don't know how much longer we have.
Yeah.
So all your accomplishments, all your accolades, it was cool to spend some time at my mom's house during COVID because, she still has all our awards. So to be able to see all those awards that you used to win for your grades, for performing arts, all that stuff, all the accolades, all the awards you've garnered, I want to tell you I'm super proud of you. Obviously, you know that. You're my twin sister. We super tight. Our relationship has grown. But I just want to give you your love and kind of, give you your flowers while we both still here, man. Because I say in my mind all the time, I got a high-ass insurance policy. Anything happen to me, I know that y'all going to be taken care of. You know what I mean? But we just never know when it's going to be our last time seeing each other, or loving on each other, or hugging on each other, or actually showing that genuine love, like, you know what I mean? Through all the bad times, through all the bullshit, like you said earlier, we're still here. We still living in our truth, being who we are, not comparing, and just doing what we're passionate about. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just want to give you a flower and show you that love while you both still here.
No doubt, brother. I love you too.
Hugs.
Love you very much.
All right, guys. So I kind of let you in a personal part of my life, interviewing my twin sister. So yeah, if you watch this on YouTube, please like and subscribe and share. If there are any other twins out there or any other siblings who could kind of relate to some of the things that we talked about, please like and share. If you're listening to this on the audio platform, please like and rate us. As you know, one of the ways that we get paid is our listenership. It continues to rise from episode 1 to now episode 64, but obviously we always want that number to keep increasing. And yeah, live here from Fort Lauderdale Beach until the next episode. And I got this from her. Peace. Subscribe to Briana Daniel TV, but you already knew that, where we dig deep and find our hustle, and every single day we are better than yesterday. Subscribe.